Welcome to Catalyst Conversations, a podcast from the Foundation for Evangelism, where we talk about evangelism, discipleship, and sharing the good news of Jesus Christ with a hurting world. We hope that this podcast series can help you start a conversation in your faith community. In this episode, 3 Equipping the Local Church grant recipients discuss what challenged and surprised them through the process of implementing their evangelism ministry or initiative.
So as you started to implement, what's been your biggest challenge thus far? Or where have you maybe needed to, going back to that original application, needed to pivot from what you thought you might be doing?
Okay. As we were addressing the 4 walls, one of the main things that we noticed that needed to be done, we was addressing the symptoms, but we really was not addressing the problems. So one of the things that we noticed that we had to address was mental health. Even though they were homeless, sheltered, the kids in school, all of them was dealing with mental health. And we was amazed to see a lot of our homeless and people that was in poverty was people who served our country, was in poverty, and mental health issues from either fear, postpartum, anything that was. And we as a church was figuring that sometimes we don't add the science with religion. We either add religion, separate the science. We do science, add religion, but not understanding that it all goes hand in hand. So we ended up having a health fair that was supposed to be 1 day, and it ended up being 4 days because we partnered with Duke Clinical and dentistries, and kids could get free cleaning, free health care, blood pressure check for the seniors, things. And so we had physicians come in and give their time, and all it took resources. So we thank God for the grant. It took resources to realize that it was a whole lot of individuals that, as an African American, I say it like this, in the urban community, people are skeptical to go to the doctor. People are skeptical to go to the dentistry. So their safe haven was the church, that they would trust us, or they trust to go. And we found a lot of veterans that have the insurance, but just won't go to the VA. You know, they have the access to things. So we had veterans that's from the congregation that began to reach out to them, and wives would be like, "Can you get him to go to the doctor? Can you get him to go?" And we wondered, like, they're married, but he's not staying with her. And we brought to the scripture, and I know it's long, but we brought to the scripture when the man was possessed with demons, Jesus came from the other side, and after he removed the demons from the man, he said, "Go back home to your." And so we started using that scripture because the wife couldn't put up with him. So now we wondering, why you homeless? The wife can't put up with him because he's not addressing his problem. And so it's causing problems with the marriage and then.
So I think some of the biggest challenges, first one is the space. That's just becoming a challenge. We're in our Sunday morning service now that we have folks coming in. We're averaging about 35, and in a church building of 950 square feet, As I told my board last week, I said, it is an exciting full for you, but an uncomfortable full for new people that come in. So that's like the superficial challenge. The kind of like, I'd say probably one of my biggest challenges in this was culture shock. And I've gone through culture shock. You saw my bio, served in Spain. I've gone through culture shock there. I lived in North Carolina for a long time, but then straight from Spain to Alabama, culture shock. Pulled in, and we had 2 football fields at our church. Wow. But to see what's hidden right in front of you, you know, what's hidden just right where you are, right where you drive. But to have somebody essentially take your hand and say, "Hey, come and peel back the curtain with me." So that's been a huge challenge, opportunity, and realization, I'd say. Yeah, does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
One of our challenges was space as well. When we put up our community garden beds, there was discussion about putting them where they would not mess with the aesthetic of the church. This is the community I serve. And I'm thinking, what's wrong with letting people see that you're doing something in the community? Because when I got there, people were, "Oh, that church still exists." Yes, and we're doing things. That was a minor one. I was able to say, well, the terms of the grant.
It's me, the bad guy.
Well, I was like, that has been very helpful, though. The terms of the grant were that we would use this money for this reason. So we're gonna put the garden beds where they're accessible for the community. Anyway, that was a minor one. It was fairly easily overcome. The bigger one for us right now is helping people get out of their social world. Because a lot of my folks have had the same friends for 30 years. And they don't know how to make new friends. And when you think about it, it's really easy to say, oh, you need to make friends. How many of us have made a new friend in the last 5 years? So I'm almost at the point where I'm going to start sending people in pairs. You 2 are going to pottery class. You 2 are going to join that yoga class. You 2 are going to go to help people get to the place where they can interact with people outside their social world regularly enough to have the rapport to invite them to places. And that's, I don't know, I feel like if we crack that code, we can write another book and do really well for ourselves. Because it's a big challenge. Especially in the Bible Belt, where the expectation is, it's Sunday, you should be in church. What's wrong with you that you're not in church? You know, to get people to a place where they're looking outward differently. Still working on that one.
Mm-hmm. So I guess on the other side, what's been your biggest surprise as you've implemented?
My biggest surprise is who is actually comfortable doing the inviting. We had Charge Conference last week, and one of the questions that I asked my lay leader, half jokingly, was, which bartender have you invited to church this week? Because they have their young adult group, and then they go out and they have a meal together, and they've invited people from at least 2 of the local watering holes to come to church. So the demographic that's comfortable with the invitations has surprised me somewhat, and it's such that I almost need to warn people: if this group is doing the inviting and you're not, in 3 years the flavor of this church is going to be completely different. And you can't blame me. I'm not the one who did that. The folks who are doing the inviting are the ones who are excited about it, are actually the folks who were formerly done. We've welcomed back several of the duns, and it's always an honor when they stay with us, because I know that church pain is hard. So it's been really surprising and exciting that the folks who are doing the inviting in the community and where they're inviting people to come from. I didn't see that one coming.
So probably the most surprising has been let's say the loaves and fish of the grant. I did not expect with what we were doing for us to still have funds. But we've seen, God stretch and move, surprise us. I told you about our space situation. So we're kind of landlocked. There's nothing we can really do. Commercial prices are outrageous. And I have a church of, 35 people. So we thought about, what about just an outdoor building, where we can house most of our outreach stuff, clothes, food, all of that. So I had one of our contractors, one of the guys, he's a contractor, he went to a bunch of the places that sell those. And each of them, they're like, yeah, we can give you 10% off. Okay, thanks.
Does that cover sales tax?
Basically. I'll tell you, $5,000 for a building is, you're not getting a huge building. But he was pulling out of one of the places, and there was one sitting with an entire wall busted out. And so he went back in and he asked him, he said, what about that building? He said, well, and he said, it fell off a truck when we were delivering it. He said, you know what? He said, my guys, they're not very busy. And he said, why don't I get them to fix it up? If you didn't have it delivered, he said, $500 out the door. A 10 by 20, which is the largest that we can have without a permit in our city. And delivered everything, about $800 for an $8,500 building. But we've seen that not just in those types of things, but in other areas. People that come and want to support, and opportunities where we needed something, and that something showed up. Like it's God at work in beautiful, mysterious ways. So,
for us, the grant has proven that we still got half left to do for this coming year, because God has opened doors and showed us untapped resources, untapped individuals that was jewels in the church that had not been used by the church, because the church has so many times been using the same people, and now we've seen other people that's like, oh, we didn't know you had that talent, we didn't know you, and so they knowing other people. And as a matter of fact, we took 50 children from the house and our projects to the water park after vacation Bible school, and they was like, well, I found someone. They said they love what you're doing, and they gonna help take care of them going to the water. So it's like untapped people are just coming in and helping. God is stretching what God is giving to help provide the ministries that are needed, and we are seeing individuals that is coming, giving their time, laity, giving their time, volunteering, not worrying about if they get a check. They just giving their time, their love, and their passion, and we are seeing it just multiply enormously through resources and through the physical attendance of the people within the community.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Catalyst Conversations. We invite you to use this and our other episodes to start or keep a discussion going in your community. We hope you'll join us in celebrating the Foundation's 75th year. We have several in-person and virtual events planned, And you can find out more by going to foundationforevangelism.org/75 years.